Hi, I'm Chef John Maxwell. We're here at Chef Maxwell's Kitchen at the heart of the home in Meadow Event Park in Doswell, Virginia. Every week, we make recipes using great Virginia food, and we make them in our kitchen so that you can make them in your kitchen. And today we're going to have a great time. We're working with some farm-raised oysters from Cape Charles, Virginia. We're using an oyster called a ruby salt from Cherrystone Creek. A delightful oyster. It's farm-raised. They're called ruby salts because the oyster aquaculturalist, the oyster farmer's daughter's name is Ruby. So these are named after Ruby from Cape Charles. So we've got some corn in here, right? Corn cob, actually. And I'm going to take this corn cob, and peel it down, shuck it. And now I'm going to cut the kernels off. I'm only going to do a few of these. I've got a couple of them already done. All right, so we've got the corn cut from the cob, and I'm going to put it into this dish, and it's going to go straight into that pot. I'm going to add the corn, and we're going to add these potatoes. I used red potatoes. You can use any potato you want. I don't like using russets to go into water because they get too flaky. What makes them a great baked potato makes them a poor boiled potato. So these are red skinned potatoes, right? And in they go. Right. Now this is going to cook for a little while. Right. I'm going to pull out the corn cobs. Those three that were in there were doing what we needed them to do, and I wanted you to see the corn cob going in. So, but we don't need all of that corn cob. Right. Now this is going to come back to heat. I'll talk about these oysters. As you can see, these are nice and plump oysters, a nice round shell, deep bottom. That's kind of the thing you want to look for because that means there's going to be lots of juice inside of them. I'm not going to try and open one on camera. One of these days we'll get together and I'll show you some different ways to open an oyster, but today we're going to concentrate on the chowder. Right? I'm going to take some milk, about 2 cups. Throw that on in there. So we got milk, we've got corn water, we've got potatoes, and we've got oysters getting ready to go in. So we're going to let this come to a heat, come to a boil, cook long enough for the corn to begin to soften. And then we're going to add our oysters, and we'll be back in a few minutes to do that. I've shucked these. These are out here for decoration. I've shucked these, and I'm going to go ahead and put these down in this water. All right. It's water, milk, potatoes, and corn, and now oysters. Really a simple recipe, not very many components to it, right? And all the oysters need to do is get good and hot. They really don't need to cook for very long. We want them to cook until the edges begin to curl. And you can see with this oyster how it's very soft and thick and the edges are smooth. So we're going to put this in here for just a couple of more minutes. You can see this now, the edge is beginning to curl a little bit. You can see down in here how that edge of the oyster is beginning to separate out and curl. And you can see another one here is beginning to do that. And most people, if they have an objection to oysters, and I don't know anybody who doesn't like the taste of oyster. Oysters are delicious. Some people have a little bit of a trouble with the texture. So this stew, this chowder, helps with that texture. It firms it up, makes it less slick, so to speak. You can see how this is starting to curl a little bit. You see the oyster fins. Let's take a little bit of a taste. Right, and see if we got enough salt out of those oysters. Oh yeah, just perfect. You got a nice oyster flavor to it, and it's got a little salt in the background. It's nicely balanced flavor. And here we go. We're going to take this and we're going to put it out there. Now I'm needs a little garnish, so I'm going to use some chopped green pepper and sprinkle it around. And there we have it, a wonderful oyster stew using ruby salt oysters from Cape Charles, Virginia, from Cherrystone Creek. While you're working in your kitchen at home, make sure you're playing with Virginia food.
Recipes from the heart of the home can be found on Chef Maxwell's website, chefjohnmaxwell.com.